Hello, I'm Charles Kovess, Australasia's passion provocateur. Welcome to this week's episode of the Charles Kovess Show, episode 46. Who knew when we started this that we'd get to 46, let alone be able to keep going? In this week's show, I share with you 5 clever strategies to generate an explosion of love in your life on Valentine's Day, to regenerate your love for your lover, or to make you much more attractive to your future lover, if you don't have one now. Love grows stale. You must keep investing in it, in your relationships. To say that you're lucky to have a great relationship is like saying you're lucky to have a beautiful garden. There's no luck involved in it at all. Clever strategies, hard work, embracing the challenge is the way to have a relationship that others are hugely envious of. Stick around, I'll tell you more. This weekly show is founded on the formula SA plus P equals S. Self-awareness plus passion equals success. Since 1993, when I left my legal career that I loved, to teach people, to inspire people, to provoke people about passion, I have shared my ideas, my insights on the power of passion and self-awareness that has successfully changed people's lives in corporate conferences, in workshops, in speeches at conferences, in coaching of teams, in coaching of individuals. What I share with you works. I've helped people with my books, Passionate People Produce, and the second book, Passionate Performance. More books are on their way. My third book that I co-wrote was The 7 Heavenly Virtues of Leadership. This show is also guided by Socrates' famous quote, "The unexamined life is not worth living." I hope this show, whether you're watching it or listening to it, provokes you to keep examining your life, regardless of what age you are. Now, since we're talking about an explosion of love, I think early in this show, I better share some examples of love for a bit of humour early in the show. What is love? A group of professionals posed this question to a group of 4 to 8-year-olds. What does love mean? Here are some of the answers. I hope they tickle your fancy just like they tickled mine. When someone loves you, the way they say your name is different. You know that your name is safe in their mouth, said Billy, aged 4. Love is when a girl puts on perfume and a boy puts on shaving cologne and they go out and smell each other, said Carl, aged 5. Chrissy, aged 6, said this: love is when you go out to eat and give somebody most of your chips without making them give you any of theirs. More to come. Now, you can see I'm wearing my red jacket. Red is the colour of passion, so this should inspire you. I aim to inspire you when you see red to think of passion, think of your passion, to think of the passion of your children so that you can nurture their passion. And if you're a grandparent, to nurture passion in your grandchildren. Each week I share with you one big idea rather than lots of different ideas. This week, the big idea is around love, of course, because it's Valentine's Day on 14 February all around the world. So it's time to think of love. And it's one idea so that I don't confuse you with too many ideas. I also share with you various resources to help you reinforce each week's message. This show is not intended to be politically correct. I hope you don't think I'm politically correct. I do not want to be politically correct. This show supports certain addictions, one of which being coffee. And since I'm a coffee lover and Julie's a coffee lover, here's cheers. Love my coffee. What amazing, wonderful fuel. And thank you, Nespresso, for your wonderful coffee making machines. This show also subscribes to the view that we have a spiritual life, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so it's a crucial element in your enjoyment of life to understand the spiritual part of your human nature. So I will definitely talk about spirituality, as regular listeners, as regular viewers would know. So before we get to the big idea, what's happened in the past week? Well, here in Victoria, we are now in hard lockdown for 5 days because of a small number of cases. And again, the spin keeps coming from the Victorian government, a government that is incompetent, corrupt, and full of lies. It is remarkable that still surveys show that more than 50% of Victorians think the government is doing a good job. I reject any such assertion. I think they're the most incompetent government I've ever experienced in my over 60 years on this planet and living in the state of Victoria for more than 60 years. Donald Trump has also not been impeached. That was the news this morning. And as a lawyer, the sheer effrontery of the American political system trying to impeach somebody who is not even the president, as a lawyer, and any interpretation of the Constitution should make you think. And if you want my views on it as a lawyer, I'm happy to share them with you, but it is just the use of words in ways that were never intended. And it's just remarkable when we see what's going on around the world in the way people use words and then twist them to mean whatever they want them to mean. It sounds like everyone's becoming a lawyer. One of those uses of words is by the Australian government, who says, and the Victorian government, who says, we're all in this together in relation to coronavirus and lockdown. That is bullshit. We are not all in this together. Small business is being decimated by the decisions of government that have zero proportionality. Trust me, zero proportionality. The fact that somebody dies from coronavirus is as stupid, and we should lock down, is as stupid as saying because somebody dies in a car accident, we should stop driving. There is no proportionality. We are not all in this together. And the problem is in Victoria that more than 50% of people are having a great time. Public servants can stay at home, still get paid. Politicians are still getting paid. Big business is booming. You think they're loving it? Absolutely, they're loving it. So we are not all in this together. Don't listen to lies, or be sufficiently aware that you can identify lies. The other thing that's happening is this talk of vaccines. Vaccines are going to save us. If you bother learning about vaccines, you will realize that what's being sold to us is, number one, technically not a vaccine. Number two, full of risks. Number three, to think that vaccines are going to rescue us from this pandemic is such a nonsense, such a lie. And I say that big pharmaceutical companies are investing huge amounts of money to influence politicians, so we're being burdened with political decisions. Politicians are abrogating their decision-making, their political decision-making, because they say the experts told us. That, again, is bullshit. Politicians have to listen to a range of experts, a range of opinions on a range of different elements of our lives, and then make proportionate decisions. The vaccines that I talked about are mRNA, chemicals and drugs. They are not technically vaccines if you bother researching that. If you don't want a vaccine, you cannot be forced by an employer to have one. So if you want more information on that, please send us an email to charles@coves.com. I will happily give you the technical legal reasons why this is so. In the meantime, during the week, you'll be pleased to know that I have recovered from my heavy-duty mountain bike riding from last week up in the Victorian high country. And Julie and I have been having a fantastic week together. So please understand that while I'm passionately against what the federal and state governments are doing, and note in Australia that all 6 governments all do different things, so there is no science around this being settled because they're all making their own decisions. Still, Julie and I are having a great time together. Life is good. We live in the best country in the world. And the problems that we're dealing with are nothing like what my parents had to deal with during World War II. So I have a sense of proportionality, but I don't want us to lose what we have created in this country. I don't want you, wherever you're listening to this show or watching this show, to lose the rights and the freedoms that you presently have. And that's what coronavirus is a huge threat to, that you and I allow governments to get away with taking away our freedom, all in the name of rescuing us. It is a nonsensical position to take. So, enough of the rant about the week, although they're crucial issues because it's impacting on our whole lives. There's one other thing that I wanted to say, is that all the business news during the week is about remarkable changes happening in the business world. And what I urge you to do is to understand what you're passionate about and understand the need for you to have nimble thinking, nimble footwork, nimble physicality, able to shift and pivot so that you're not trapped in a particular way of looking at life and a particular way of looking at your business career. The world of business is changing rapidly. You are your own boss. You need to make your own decisions and be capable of making those decisions. So I urge you to keep investing in your learning and thinking about what is happening in the world of business. I've got some great resources from a guy called Mark Joyner that I may well share with you in future shows. But if you want a preview of some great thinking around business, please again get in touch with us via the email charles@coves.com. Now, it's time to get into the big idea. Before I do, I invite you to visit our websites, coves.com, charlescoves.com. Time for a sip of coffee before I get into the big idea. I invite you to subscribe to this podcast, to the YouTube channel, and I ask you to share this show with your networks if you think it's of value. If you enjoy it, please share it with your family, with your friends. What I'm hoping I'm doing is adding value to your life, and if I am, please share it with other people. You can also sign up for our somewhat irregular passion points to ponder when you visit either of those 2 websites. So, today's big idea: how to create an explosion of love on Valentine's Day. I invite you to think of Valentine's Day as an opportunity to regenerate your love for your lover. Take this as an annual spring clean of your loving relationship, as a reminder of, hey, what have we created? What have we got? And if you don't have a lover and you want one, then take on board the 5 clever strategies that I'm sharing with you today that will make you much more attractive whenever you are in a new relationship. Relationships are wonderful and difficult, just like winning an Olympic gold medal. You must be willing to do the work to build the relationship, to maintain the relationship, to look after the relationship, to take the weeds out when they appear. Just as I said in my introduction, to say that you're lucky to have a great relationship is like saying you're lucky to have a beautiful garden. To win an Olympic gold medal is a wonderful thing, but it requires an enormous amount of work. I urge you to embrace the challenge if you are in a relationship. Don't wish for a better relationship. Build a better relationship. Build it like Julie and I have got a wonderful relationship. Build it so it becomes like that. And there are a number of elements that go into such a relationship. And the most important, it's not one of the 5 clever strategies, but the most important is that the person with whom you are in relationship, you have to choose to respect them. You have to choose to respect that they are a unique, indeed weird human being. Each one of us is a weirdo. You love a weirdo. And of course, loving a weirdo and you being a weirdo, it's just an amazing thing when 2 people get together and decide that they love each other. But that doesn't last forever, as we well know. Marriage statistics, almost 50% of marriages, between 40 and 50% of marriages in Australia don't last. And I should know, I've been successfully married 3 times. I'm good at marriage. Ha, say some of you. Ha. But I know what it's about. And we fall in love, and I've fallen in love so many times in my life before I got married, and it's a wonderful thing. And if I knew then what I knew now, life would be different. But that's the joy of life. You don't know what's coming. There's no point. That's why when people say to me, what regrets do you have? I have very few regrets, because I know I have to make mistakes to get better at what I do. I've covered that issue in a number of shows previously. You cannot get better without making mistakes. So your fear of making mistakes in relationships blocks your opportunity for developing your existing loving relationships or finding new ones. So, here we go. 5 clever strategies. Number 1, decide if indeed you want to regenerate your loving relationship. You might be in your existing relationship just because it's inconvenient to end it. If you cannot create a real desire to regenerate your love, then that's a big clue that you shouldn't be in it. And ending a relationship is challenging for all sorts of reasons, and having been married 3 times, I'm an expert in it. I know all the elements of it, many of the elements of it, not all. I try to avoid absolutes, and I can give you some clues on that if you would like. Again, send me an invitation. But number 1, you have to decide, do you want to regenerate? Number 2, learn the 5 love languages. Gary Chapman, that's the book of the week, The 5 Love Languages. Brilliant book. Analysed what are the different ways that you love people. And of course, you've heard some of the 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds what they think love is. There are 5 love languages. They are gifts, words of endearment, physical touch, spending time together, and acts of service. Mowing the lawn for your wife, doing the weeding around the house for the wife. Acts of service. What are the 1 or 2 prime love languages of your lover? Learn them. And if you have not done this exercise, it's a magnificent exercise to do together. Because if your lover identifies love as physical touch, and you're in the business of providing acts of service, then your lover won't think that you love him or her. And I say him or her because sex, male or female, gender, that's what it's about. That is a matter of science. That is certainly settled. Number 3. Remember, we're talking about creating an explosion of love. Number 3. In your handwriting, not typing, but in your handwriting, write a list of the wonderful qualities of your lover on one side, and a list of the shitty, frustrating, annoying behaviours on the other side. 2 lists. Wonderful qualities, shitty qualities. Acknowledge that your lover has shitty qualities, and then acknowledge that you have shitty qualities. And then you make the decision. This is what Valentine's Day does. You make the decision on Valentine's Day to focus on the wonderful qualities of your lover. Now, I'm pleased to report that my lover, Julie, has no shitty qualities, so that's a great joy to me. Number 4. Use Valentine's Day to create a weekly ritual so that you each week get brought back to the space that you are in on Valentine's Day, where you are regenerating your love, and agree with your lover what that ritual might be. There can be 2 or 3 rituals that become your way of reminding each other that investing in your loving relationship is a desire of both of you. By the way, if your lover doesn't want to do this process, then you have to seriously contemplate whether you remain in that relationship. Number 5, pick a song. That one song that for the 2 of you is your reminder to practice your rituals, to practice your loving behaviors during the year. And if you are in a non-loving space, put that song on. That song can become a wonderful reminder to you of the value of regenerating your love. Now, I've got a bonus strategy, a number 6 strategy, for those who have been in a relationship for a long time, who have been married for a long time. And the strategy is to go back and look at your wedding album, look at the photos of your wedding, look at the photos of you together before you got married. And it's a very clever strategy. I learnt from someone else that when you put yourself back into those physical memories of what it was like when you first met, of what you felt, you would be amazed at the emotions that can come up and remind you of the wonderful qualities of why you chose this person in the first place. So, I hope those strategies help you create an explosion in your existing loving relationship, or that you write them down so that you use them when you get into a new relationship. And the most important strategy in a new relationship is to understand the 5 love languages. Well, that's it for this week's big idea. Now, the tools. First of all, back to the jokes, back to the humour, back to the kids saying what love is. Terry, age 4, says this: love is what makes you smile when you're tired. Danny, age 7, says this: love is when my mummy makes coffee for my daddy and she takes a sip before giving it to him to make sure the taste is okay. Emily, aged 8, says, love is when you kiss all the time. Then when you get tired of kissing, you still want to be together and you talk more. My mummy and daddy are like that. They look gross when they kiss. And the last one here from Bobby, age 7. Love is what's in the room with you at Christmas if you stop opening presents and listen. Isn't that beautiful? My song of the week. Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me. Remember Nat King Cole? How the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more unforgettable. In every way, and forevermore. That's how you'll stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. Have a listen to those words. You can make that your ritual song. My quote of the week from Mother Teresa. The biggest disease today is not leprosy or tuberculosis or coronavirus. She didn't say that, I've added that in, but rather the feeling of being unwanted. Imagine being unwanted, feeling unwanted. Pretty powerful idea. I think a lot of people feel unwanted, and one of the things that outrages me about lockdowns is that elderly people are being locked away, led to depression. Julie has examples of people, older people in the dental practices to whom she consults or to whom we consult feeling distressed, depressed because they can't see their family. This is killing elderly people, this lack of personal touch, of personal connection, and it ties into what Mother Teresa said. Therefore, my spiritual tip this week is to find someone who you think may feel unwanted and show them that you care in some way. And it could be a homeless person. You know what to do. My health tip for you is to find a new holistic health practitioner to consult with him or her and to get a whole new perspective on your health. Find such a practitioner, and if that person doesn't resonate with you, go and find another one. You might say it costs money. Indeed it does, but what's more important than your health? Money? No. Health. And a new holistic practitioner could give you magnificent insights into what you need to do to be in magnificent health. So, that's it. I hope this week's big idea helps you regenerate the loving relationship that you are in, and perhaps more than one loving relationship. I make no aspersions on that, because you can love people in lots of different ways. I again invite you to visit our websites, to subscribe to Passion Points to Ponder, to share this podcast, to share the YouTube. I hope Valentine's Day was a special experience for you and your loving partner. I hope this week you have a rejuvenation, a regeneration, an explosion of love in your relationship, and you think in new ways about the love in your relationship. Have a great week. Don't focus on the shitty bits of coronavirus. Focus on the lack of traffic here in Victoria and other places. And never, never, ever give up. And that's what passion does. Passion gives you the fuel to never, ever give up on creating the life that you want to lead. Have a great week. Thanks for being with us. Bye.